Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a very great pleasure to um, join my board director and the director of partnership and programs to welcome you to Insight Learning Forum 2.0. So it's quite a pleasure that we're able to do this again in 2024. So I will do a quick check. If you had attended the last year version, please, can you raise your hand? Let's see what the difference looks like. Okay. Okay, you see, fewer hands. So which means we had a lot of buy-in for 2024. And thanks to everyone that actually had bought into this particular idea. And that's the main reason why we are expanding our partnership frontier, engaging, a lot of stakeholders in the space, just like you've heard Adam said, within the journey. And it's very nice that we're having new persons, join us on this particular, cruise. We call it a cruise, a digital health cruise, right? To really drive an agenda. And we're going to hear some of those conversations this morning. So I just want to take you through some quick highlights, of the journey from last year and the thought process. So just I will be quick about it. Yeah, so the maiden edition started last year, and in case you were not aware of the team, so we had the team last year. Sorry, 1 minute. I think the slide went over. Yeah, digital innovation in public health practice, lessons and impact. Why did we start that way? We just wanted to create a platform where critical stakeholders, have an opportunity to share, right? What form of innovation is working in your space? What can we learn from that innovation? How can we demonstrate impact and contribution to the larger space? That was for us setting a pace for a conversations that perhaps we're going to talk about in 2024. And we've seen how impacting those conversations have really filtered into other conversations we have been part of, right? We've seen that there are a lot of, fora that are really emphasizing digital innovation as a critical step to achieving public health milestone. And that's something welcoming. And prior to that, we've had minimal conversations at different quarters, but I think a lot of buy-in between 2023 and 2024 into the digital health space had really grown. For stakeholders in the space, I'm sure you will agree with me. I mean, within Nigeria, outside Nigeria, there are a lot of emphasis around digital innovation integration into public health programs. So that journey has actually gained momentum, as I talked about, and a lot of interest. We've seen, the movement from the private sector or private sector centric approach to a public sector centric approach. And we've also seen a lot of buy-in from the donor, all right, who are emphasizing things on the integration of digital health. So within the last 12 months, we've seen country government develop country digital health roadmap. A good number of them, I most likely wouldn't put a number to it, but for those who are knowledgeable within the space, a lot of countries have, sat back to really feel to design our country digital health roadmap so that we're able to one form of support and size a lot within the country. And that's a critical milestones we've recorded within the year. We've seen development partners move further to put in things like policy. I think 2 days ago, USAID brought out their digital health policy, right? Last year, we had Africa CDC did their own policy. So a lot of development partners are really buying into the direction that digital health is becoming needful and something very interesting. Of course, the private sector has always been there, and we've seen growing interest even within the, the non-private sector developing companies to people who are just supporting different programs, public health programs, really giving a thumbs up to the ideas around digital health. So this is one of those things that really gave a platform that we need to have a discussion last year around all of the innovations that surrounds digital health. Um, so why then do we move into 2024? We would have possibly said we had achieved the purpose of 2023 by converging like minds, right, to discuss digital innovation. But we felt that wasn't the end goal of the Insight Learning Forum. By the way, Insight Learning Forum actually birthed out of a series or an edition that we started sometime June 2022. It's an edition of different conversations called Insight Learning, Insight Webinars. So that's where we had the Insight Learning Forum. So we had Insight webinars going on, and we're proud to say that the Insight webinar had grown to consecutively 23 edition every given month. Please, let's put a hands of applause to the team. Every given month, we have done that. I know what it takes to deliver a webinar every single month for 23 consecutive months, and that's something to applaud. But we felt that we need to take the conversation out of the virtual space and have an in-person or hybrid conversations, that drive on some of the ideas and the thoughts from the webinars. And then moving into 2024, we did possibly thought that, yes, 2023, we gathered people to talk about digital innovation and learn from it and what impact that has been demonstrated. Some of it you've seen from even Adam's presentation around EHA, driven solutions. And there are new ones that perhaps we need more details. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in, and we're very open to have that conversation with you. And there are partners here who also had a couple of those kind of innovations. And that's why we set up this platform to share, collectively what and how we could work, together to drive one agenda. So in 2024, we actually had to, move the team from just sharing to discussing things that looks at what impact are all of the digital innovation causing in the public health space. Because the word impact here, it goes beyond an individual effort. It goes into a collective, effort of everyone who is doing one thing or the other. And we need to drive at making sure that we're contributing to that level of impact that is required. And that's the conversation we'll be having across today. So in looking and in listening through today, I have about 5 questions that we need to think through, right? If you have a diary, you can write them, because we'll ask you at the close of the day, what did you take out of the meeting that Ant responded to this? Are we still in doubt that the value of digital health, are we still in doubt about the value of digital health in public health, digital innovations in public health response? Is there any doubt anywhere that digital innovation is not making significant impact in public health response? If not in doubt, are critical stakeholders setting the right pace for digital transformation to strive? All of the stakeholders, and we're all here as stakeholders, are we possibly setting the right pace for digital transformation? Now, there's a difference between the key term, for those who know, that digital transformation is different from some other thoughts, and we're going to see that as we move into the slide. Is the right investment being made? Who are the investors, and what define their impact investment criteria? These are things we need to also think through. So it's not about just saying, I think we need to invest in digital innovation. What impact criteria are the investors focusing on, right? Are we just focusing on just delivery of product, focusing on how those products can improve lives and create more assets? Do we have the right policy framework, strengthen standards, collaboration, integration? Then the fifth question, the final one for today, is who is documenting and driving the very salient action point from diverse conversations and platforms held across the country and continent? So we've had different forums. I think last month we had the Africa Digital Health Summit, a lot of conversations. I've seen last week or thereabout, the Sterling One, summit, social impact summit. I had some fusion of digital health conversations. And within the year again, we're going to have the Global Digital Health Summit. That's another summit somewhere in Rwanda, Kigali sometime in. So there are a lot of platforms, several other setups, including this one, right? So, but who is taking time to document all of this? Because a lot of conversations are happening, but we're not making, like Adam talked about, there's no progress. We're not making progress. And the progress is because we are not forming a strong, kind of like focus on what actions are coming out of this conversation and taking decisions on how to drive those relative actions. Is that where we are? We are not making progress. So this, I think, that we need around as we have this conversation going to different meetings. So the discourse for us, 2024 going forward, is actually, and that's what we call it, is an advocacy action, right? For stakeholders to be more focused on achieving digital transformation. We're going to see what that entails, right? So we moved from the campaign, the joining, and all of those things. Let's focus on digital transformation. And we're going to see what that entails. So by digital transformation, we're actually implying that we're achieving integration of digital technology into all facets of work, especially the healthcare, that enhance access, equity, and accountability. And for the integration to happen is not an individual or a single partner effort. It's having one thought, ideas, agreement, guidelines that put everything together in the health system. The health system is not owned by a partner, it's not also owned by just the government. So it's a conversation that the government, the partners, and every stakeholder needs to have. And how do we evolve into a digital transform health system? So achieving digital transformation, and that's what I speak to, eliminate silos, mono implementation, but rather encourages collaboration, leveraging, and valued partnerships. And as we laid out our session today, which we need to rate our readiness towards what? Achieving digital transformation, a journeying away from digitalization, so which is different. So so what we need to look at now is that how do we make progress towards digital transformation? So this is actually standard sets, not by me, but these are things that the higher players that actually define. So for us to make it through this digital transformation, there's the business as usual, where we're doing the traditional way. There is the present and the active. We're making sure that things goes on the way it should be. But we need to get to a stage where we are formalizing things. We need to get to a stage where it's becoming more strategic, but defining where our contribution should be more valued. We need to converge to see what to prioritize. So you're most likely having arrays of digital solutions, but do you necessarily need all of them in the health system? So we need to get to that point where we are prioritizing and having that conversation. And then that will lead to a better innovation and an adaptive process where we are possibly taking decision on how to stream all of this into our process. So that's a pathway to follow, which clearly shows what we start off with and where we need to go. So if you see here, and sometimes it's confusing when you see those top descriptions, you might mix up the pronunciation or what the differently mean. So there's the digitization, there is digitalization, and there is digital transformation. So this is where you're trying to get all information tools digitalized, organize them, and just for use, right? And that's what majority of players get involved in. Then there is the digitalization, which is not making it a one-off process, but automating the process and streamlining it into what becomes the routine. That is an advanced stage of digitization, right? But moving away from that, and that's where we're talking about the journey. So achieved what? Digital transformation. How do we make this becomes a strong institution that cannot just be put out? So, which means every effort here will be mainstream as part of the culture of the work of the organization, part of the culture of the work of the government. And then in that way, we know that we're making progress, as a unified team and not individual effort. So for this to happen, in the center of things The people are involved, and that's why we're having you here. And we need you to come together with us in one mind. The tools are involved, so all of the digital health tools that you have needs to be brought on board, subjected to the standard review, have a conversation of prioritization, and then the process is also involved, which means that needs to be defined by the right stakeholders, and we have them here. And very interestingly, in 2024, Inside Learning Forum, which was the learning from 2023, where we've come to a point where we're having, right in the room, a combination of the digital health players, the donors, and interestingly, the government actors, who are in the policy side and also at the implementation side. And which means we're going to have an enriched conversation in digital, in Inside Learning Forum 2.0. So please stay tuned, be very active into the conversation, and we will definitely have to review our 5 questions and some of the things that you've heard today. But quickly, and we're going to emphasize it again, that the Inside Learning Forum has come to stay, and it keeps improving every given year. So ahead of what you will hear in 2025 is that we want to also give opportunity to young innovators to demonstrate their value addition towards any of this process, right? And we will definitely, as part of 2025 Inside Learning Forum, open up some form of digital health challenge for young innovators. The second thing we will definitely deal with is that we also want to integrate some form of capacity building workshop into the Inside Learning Forum, because for us to achieve what we talked about, there's some level of capacity that needs to also be enhanced. So look, we will see you in 2025, and we will definitely communicate to you further details. So once again, welcome to Inside Learning Forum 2.0.